propriety. The question is, did he bite more than he can ever chew? Let's listen into what some of the most famous, well-known, senior DMK voices have to say, that be MK Stalin and Saravanan Annadurai, and then I'll introduce you to the esteemed panel to speak about Governor R N Ravi.
அவருக்கு அந்த அதிகாரம் கிடையாது. நான் சட்ட ரீதியாக நாங்கள் சந்திப்போம்.
The governor is undermining the constitution. He is, I think, acting as per Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is not the law of our country. For Mr. Governor's reference, our constitution is our Bible, is our Gita, is our Quran. We want this message to go to the governor. We ask him to read the constitution properly. He does not have the authority. He is acting in a clownish way, probably to appease his political masters, to listen to their diktats, try to create confusion. But people of Tamil Nadu are aware what the governor is capable of doing, and they are also aware of the legal rights, the legal situation.
Before I introduce the guest, like I said, the slugfest between R N Ravi and MK Stalin has been going on and on. So many bills have been pending, says the government. Ravi says it's my prerogative. The most important bill being the NEET bill, of course. He also has spoken about, the entire controversy about Tamilagam versus Tamil Nadu. Then about Dravidian culture, what exactly is Dravidian as against the rest of the culture. What he also said when Stalin went abroad, he said that you just don't get investment just because you're traveling abroad. And once again, and day in and day out, one only saw this kind of slugfest, governor and the Chief Minister MK Stalin and his government. Every day, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, you can go back and read this. This, of course, is really, like I said, overstepping every political and perhaps, who knows, constitutional propriety as well. Let me now introduce you to the guest. Sriram Sheshadri, political analyst, is now joining us. S. Venkat Narayan, who's a senior journalist, is also joining us. And Mukund Padmanabhan, senior journalist, is also with us on this panel. We are awaiting one lawyer to join us. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Good to see all of you. Let me start with Mukund Padmanabhan. Mukund, do you think this time around he bit more than he could chew? It was constitutional impropriety, because I've been reading this article 164, if I am not wrong. And also, first you say dismiss because he is corrupt, of course, which he is, because he's serving a sentence. He's in custody, as it were, in a private hospital. And then to say, no, I mean, this is kept in abeyance until further notice. Let's not apply ourselves to this. How do you see this, Mukund Padmanabhan?
Well, I mean, to sort of take off from the talking point on your screen, I would say that this is a constitutional overreach. Governors are not supposed to be political animals. They are supposed to apply the law of the land. And Article 163 makes it absolutely clear that there is a Council of Ministers who advise the governor. And you've had a number of Supreme Court rulings that suggest that despite Article 163, 2 and 3, which suggest that there is some discretion on a plain reading, the Supreme Court has made it clear that this doesn't give him a general discretion to do as he thinks fit. So if you're looking at this issue in terms of what the governor did, I'm really surprised and shocked that he could have taken such a step on the basis of Article 163. So yes, I think constitutional overreach. I think you raised the issue yourself. I would agree with that.
Yeah, but this has been going on and on. I mean, it's the slugfest between the governor and the government of the day is not new. We are seeing it in Kerala, we are seeing it in West Bengal, and of course Tamil Nadu, I felt somehow it breached every kind of because every day it was like two schoolboys. I'm sorry, I'm sticking my neck out, and sorry for the gender, boys, but it could be like two school kids fighting every day. You said this to me, well, who are you? Well, I'm going to say this to you. Do you think, the way a lot of people are seeing it, and I'm not, I don't hold a brief for any political party, but do you think that this is clearly driven more by a political purpose than anything else, Mukund Padmanabhan?
Well, I think you might, you probably have a point there. You refer to Kerala, and something similar happened, except that I think the governor there, Arif Muhammad Khan, invoked Article 164, where he said a certain minister who had made certain remarks against the governor doesn't enjoy his pleasure anymore. So this was a statement that was made, and again there was a controversy of whether he had the power to just withdraw pleasure from a particular minister. There are court rulings on this as well. So as far as the described as a slugfest, this sort of ugly manifestation of this thrust and counter thrust, what do you say? It's ideally, constitutionally, a governor is supposed to represent both the state and the center, but time and again we have had situations, and this is not necessarily under this government alone, but previous governments as well, that we've had situation where the governments, act as completely at the behest of the center. And I think this is really unfortunate, I think. And Tamil Nadu is a bad example of this, as we've seen over the last 2 years. And I'm not standing up for the DMK, because there is a model question as well outside the political question. I mean,
right.
should Mr. Balaji have resigned?
Right.
Given that the fact that the ED had ordered his arrest. That's not a legal question, but that's a question that should be raised, but it's got overshadowed completely by the governor's action.
All right. Sriram Sheshadri, let me bring you in, Sriram, and if we can have that first talking point up, which Mukund Padmanabhan also saw just now, so that Sriram also has a kind of perspective. Sriram Sheshadri, this is the question that we are asking. Did Governor Ravi overreach constitutionally and politically by dismissing tainted Senthil Balaji? I mean, I was reading some of your tweets. So what are your thoughts now?
Good evening, Sudha.
Good evening, Sriram.
In my opinion, did the governor overreach constitutionally? It's not so. I back it by the constitutional provisions of 154, 163, 164 and 310. Okay, I'll just explain if you give me about 30 seconds to do that.
That's our next talking point, and we'll speak about Article 164. But as of now, I would request you, Sriram, if you can just talk about whether it is an overreach politically, because imagine, Sriram, first you write a letter and you say dismiss, there is shock, we can all differ, agree, do whatever. I mean, it's like having egg on your face, I say, Sriram, and then to say it's in abeyance.
Okay, let me just speak at least for a minute so that you can rebut, and then you can interject and then, allow me to speak, right? You invited me as a guest. The first and foremost, I said it is not a political or constitutional overreach. If you are saying that it's a political overreach, then you are branding the governor as a politician, which I don't, because I give respect to the constitutional authority the governor as a term has. Has the governor handled this in a haste? Probably yes. That's where, it's a disgrace to the governor's position. If he had not consulted the AG before doing that. I don't know whether he has not consulted the AG at all. I don't think Governor R N Ravi would have just done this as an individual. Whenever he issues such a direction, such a press release, it should have definitely undergone a scrutiny with the Home Ministry and with the Solicitor General or Attorney General. I don't think Governor would have taken this call on his own. So that is where I say that the collateral damage of this entire episode yesterday that unfolded is a constitutional position as a governor. But constitutionally, has he overreached? No, because Constitution gives him the power of discretion under these articles that I talked about, and then there is a court example in government. It once again applies to Tamil Nadu, because it was a case against M. Karunanidhi versus the state of Tamil. In 1979, Supreme Court upheld that Punjab, High Court's case, where they said that, I don't want to go through the entire case history, but it's Tara Singh versus Director of Consolidation of
Right.
Holdings.
Sriram,
Where the High Court ruled that Governor appoints the minister, albeit, and they hold the office during his
I was going to read that out.
Therefore, it is open to the governor under the constitution to dismiss.
Sure. So, let me read that. A minister is appointed or dismissed by the governor and is therefore subordinate to him, whatever be the nature and status of his constitutional functions. That's what, because one has read the 1970. Before coming here, I did do due diligence, Sriram. I knew that all of you are going to be here. Meanwhile, I was also stopping you, and my apologies to you because Saravanan Annadurai is joining us on the phone line. Saravanan, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Sudha.
Saravanan, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Sudha. How are you?
I'm good. So Saravanan, tell me something. Yesterday when this entire thing unfolded, we are talking about political overreach, constitutional overreach also, Saravanan. Right now you heard, because DMK, you're all sitting together, Mr. Wilson, and of course your Chief Minister MK Stalin. Now the thing is, I want to understand, Sriram presented this case 1979 involving Kalaignar. Now he said that absolutely this is something which there has been a precedent, and apropos Tamil Nadu. What is your response to that, considering you are a lawyer first?
See, what the governor did is a crime against him. The office he holds. He does not have any authority. The Attorney General. He should have straight away taken advice from Sriram and gone ahead with that. Why has he not done that? So this is not it is. The latest Supreme Court judgment, a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court in 2014, Narula's case, clearly held that it is not in our domain to bar people who are undergoing trial for heinous offences from taking charges, ministers, either the cabinet ministers at the union level or at the state level. He said that is left to the wisdom of the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister, and let them know that the people are watching them. This is what the 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court said. If they thought otherwise, they would have said, no, why should we do this? It's not with the Chief Minister or the Prime Minister. In the state, the governor has the power. The governor can do it.
Right.
They could have said that. They have not said that. So whoever is portraying or peddling this theory that the governor has power under the 79th judgment should really examine their credentials first. So that is not possible, and 163 discretion is for something else, what they can do under the Constitution. That is under Article 356, Article 239, and administering Assam under the 6th schedule or any other state that comes under there. Apart from that, the governor does not have any discretion whatsoever. He gets a discretion when the government is formed, when there is no elected government. The discretion left to him is whether to call the single largest party, the coalition before the elections, or coalition after the elections. Apart from that, the Constitution does not speak about any discretion to the governor. He is a puppet. He is the rubber stamp of the cabinet of ministers. He has to do everything. He cannot even dismiss whoever is working in his office. He cannot even dismiss his stenographer without the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. The governor does not have any power. He is just an ornamental piece sitting and watching everything and signing whatever the cabinet.
Which means that no further action will be taken on that. I am asking you, what is the Dravida Munnetra Kalagam's further action? Are you still thinking of a very strong legal retort, as it were, Saravanan?
I have been maintaining that what the governor wrote does not even have the value of the paper in which it is written. It has to be consigned to the dustbin. It has got no legal sanctity. It has no authority. See, any constitutional functionary cannot do something which he does not have the power to. Can he tomorrow come and say, I have the discretion under Article 163. I will dismiss the Chief Justice. I give oath to him. I have appointed him. Can you dismiss him?
Right.
Weird and absurd the way the governor is acting. And immediately after 4 hours, see, the very fact that he has gone back on what has he said, it makes us wonder whether he is suitable, whether he is in a stable frame of mind to continue in the office of the governor.
So you are saying, Saravanan, you
we'll
will take legal action. Are you saying you will take legal action?
See, we will explore every possible opportunity available. We have a lot of precedents. The same thing happened in Kerala. The Kerala Chief Minister just ignored the governor. We will do what we think is fit. Right now, I think the Chief Minister has written a letter to the governor, and the news says that it has reached the office of the governor. So we'll see what happens.
Right. Narayan Tirupati, Vice President of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, is also joining us on the phone line. Narayan, good evening. Narayan, you heard what Saravanan Annadurai said. You know, overreach, constitutional overreach, political overreach. We had two guests. One, of course, said very clearly that yes, indeed, it was an overreach. The other one, that is Sriram Seshadri, said constitutionally, perhaps not. What are you saying?
No, see, what we in BJP say is that the Senthil Balaji should have been dismissed a long back. We had welcomed what the governor had done. He had dismissed Senthil Balaji. We welcomed that. Now that Mr. R N Ravi chose to go by what the Home Ministry says, he has to answer that, and he will do that. So we are not bothered in any way. First of all, we are bothered only about the common man who were cheated by Mr. Senthil Balaji, as told by the then opposition leader and the present Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin. Even Mr. Stalin in 2018, 1st September, very clearly asking for the dismissal of then Minister, Mr. Vijay Bhaskar, by the then governor. So now suddenly Mr. Stalin knows about the constitution and is trying to pose so many questions.
Narayan, I want, you said that you are only, Narayan, you said that you are bothered about the ordinary man in Tamil Nadu. The thing is that when the dismissal happens, the first letter, you are bothered. Now that it is an abeyance, you are saying we are not bothered about it. I just don't understand. I mean, what really are you saying, Narayan?
You should understand one thing. We want Senthil Balaji to be dismissed. Don't divert the issue. The problem is that of corruption and not that of what the governor had done or not. We have to understand this. The Supreme Court has ordered for something which the state government has not yet formed the special investigation team. Why they have not done? Instead of concentrating on all those things, we are trying to, debate about things which are not relevant.
Yeah,
we want Senthil Balaji out of the cabinet.
Right. So even as the investigation was going on, I think it is a self-goal for those who are saying, let Senthil Balaji go away forever. He should not be there near the Arivalayam at all. This is a self-goal, no? It gives DMK a moral now ground.
No, what self-goal? I don't understand. What is the self-goal?
First you say, you dismiss me first from a job. Then you say, no, Sudha, stay back. What is this? Which means you haven't made up your mind. You have not checked the procedure.
Sudha,
there is nothing you have checked. R N Ravi is not a greenhorn, sir.
Balaji, you should know that. It is not Narayanan who dismissed Senthil Balaji. It is the governor who dismissed Senthil Balaji. Now he has taken for the legal opinion. So let it be there. They will continue with that. But our position, BJP's position, as far as Senthil Balaji, continues the same. It was Mr. Stalin who claimed that Senthil Balaji is a cheat, is a fraud. Is it yes or no? That's what we are asking. You have the moral responsibility.
All right. So it's now very political and it's somehow convenient also. Thank you, Saravanan. Thank you, Narayan, for joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Venkat Narayan, my apologies that I come late to you, but these two phone calls were patched and therefore, apologies, sir. Do you think this has now become clearly political? And when I look at it, I just think R N Ravi kind of scored several self-goals here. The BJP has been going on and on since yesterday saying, when he was dismissed, good, Senthil Balaji should go and he's anti-people, he's corrupt, he's this and that. But with the second letter, I think many people had egg on their faces and they ate many crows.
Sudha, let us wait for the governor's final decision on the basis of the legal opinion he has been told by the Home Minister to take the letter of dismissal is still in abeyance. And in the first place, it is true, like these gentlemen are claiming, when Senthil Balaji was in the other party, ADMK, it was Stalin who called him corrupt and demanded his dismissal and so on. But in fairness, the moment he was arrested, morality, political morality demands that he should have been removed from the cabinet. Stalin did not do that. But does Ravi have the power to dismiss him? I mean, people are arguing both ways. So we'll have to see this. But the point I want to make is that it's very unfortunate that when a party other than the BJP is running a government in a particular state, the governor deputed by the center, creates problems to the government of that particular party. This has been going on in Kerala and Bengal, West Bengal, and now Tamil Nadu. It has happened in Pondicherry also. I think I'd like to see an end to this kind of unpleasantness and unbecoming of a governor and chief minister in indulging the kind of disputes and all that.
So the second talking point is that why is Stalin protecting tainted Senthil Balaji? That is the second very important talking point. That is why is Stalin protecting tainted Senthil Balaji? Let me go to once again to Mukund Padmanabhan. Mukund, this has been going on and on, whether he should be removed or not, and everyone came. I mean, they were protecting Senthil Balaji. They said, we see a conspiracy theory everywhere. Then, when there was a suggestion that he should be dismissed, Stalin refused to do that. He's removed from his present whatever ministries he has. Even now, he's written a letter saying that Senthil Balaji will stay. Why do you think Stalin is protecting Senthil Balaji in this fashion?
Well, I don't want to get into speculation, though I have read theories about why he is, taking a very soft line on this issue. And I think it'd be unfair to speculate on that. But it just seems to me that the right and honorable thing would have been to maybe let him go.
Yeah.
Which is a completely different issue from the issue of Mr. Ravi and his action. And I just want to add one thing which has been missed in the debate when we've talked about the Constitution. And that is, you have a 2013 judgment which very clearly says that whether you're a member of parliament or whether you're a member of legislative assembly, you can continue there until you're given a minimum of 2 years imprisonment. And it's on this basis that Rahul Gandhi lost his parliamentary membership, and so have certain others, Jayalalitha and so on. So, I mean, that is the law of the land. Ravi does not have the discretion to, just pick and select ministers on the basis of a charge or of an arrest or to do that, because there is a very, very clear ruling that people lose their jobs automatically. Even Stalin can't step in if Mr.
Right. So I get that.
So, I think that's the law of the land. Now, why politically he's not doing it, I don't want to get into speculation.
Right. So, Mukund makes it very clear that we have to follow the law of the land. Whatever applies to A should apply to B, and therefore certain things happen, automatically. Sriram Sheshadri, the question comes to you now, the talking point. Satish has also joined us, who's an advocate. Satish, give me 2 minutes. I'll come to you, and thank you so much for your patience, sir. Sriram Sheshadri, I want to ask you, why do you think Stalin is protecting Senthil Balaji, you think? Because Mukund said, I don't want to speculate. I have read enough, but I want it to come from you.
Before I start answering that, one small rebuttal to what Saravanan mentioned, even though he has logged off, for the sake of the viewers, the Manoj Nerula case in 2014 was not related to governor's power. It was related to a prayer before the Supreme Court was to dismiss tainted ministers from the parliament. So it is two different prayers, and hence you can't mix up and then say 1979 ruling was overruled by the Constitution bench in 2014. That is a misleading answer.
Okay.
1979 ruling has so far not been overruled by a higher constitutional bench. So and hence it stays. So that is my submission for the viewers to know that both are not comparable cases. The second one is with respect to Senthil Balaji's, it is a big myth to even amongst the DMK. Many ministers, seniors are very worried that why Stalin is protecting Senthil Balaji. Is a big myth within the party itself, because he just joined the party 5 years back, and there are very senior ministers, senior colleagues of in the senior party men, leaders in the in DMK who have been sidelined and then given a preference to Senthil Balaji, and there should be some amount of I don't want to speculate it as a quid pro quo, but some amount of deliverance that Senthil Balaji has been doing. And the confidence that the first family has in Senthil Balaji, that is why they are trying to protect. And more importantly, Stalin to some extent has that attitude that you can't challenge me on my decisions, unlike Mr. Karunanidhi, because Karunanidhi would have definitely thought about various repercussions. In this case, Stalin takes a decision and then sticks by it, irrespective of various senior leaders who are opposing this decision. In fact, if I'm right, there has been some amount of counseling given by the senior ministers and senior leaders to Mr. Stalin earlier, asking him to step back on protecting Senthil Balaji, continuing on the cabinet, because it is actually creating ripples with the masses, with the voter base. So they see the heat at the ground. So I don't know the real reason why he is being protected.
Yeah, but
my guess is
you did say that a lot of people were feeling sidelined because Stalin apparently gives a lot of credence to what Senthil Balaji says. That in itself is enough of an indication. And I mean, I'm not going to ask you for that source of the information, because one reads one reads several things, but I do not know whether that's the truth. But if you are saying it, then I'll take it to be as your comment, coming on why Stalin protecting Senthil Balaji. Let me come to you, Suresh, and I'm going to ask you, Satish, I'm sorry, I'm coming to you, and this is the talking point. What is the scope of governor's powers under Article 164 of the Constitution? And Satish, I'm asking you this for obvious reasons. You're a vakil, you're an advocate, and therefore you can throw light. There is a lot of controversy right now after this entire thing happened. You and I, Satish, have spoken a lot about what are the governor's powers in the past. Whenever there was a slugfest, about between Stalin and R N Ravi. But as of now, dismissing a state cabinet minister, what is the scope of governor's powers, as it were, under Article 164?
Good evening, Sudha. Hi. This is quite, I'm quite a little bit surprised that why this, the action of governor of taking back the letter has become too much of controversy is created in most of the channels. I'm surprised, sorry to say, because I take this is a different angle altogether, that the governor has powers or not. Absolutely, governor has got a power according to my understanding of constitution, and because there are some even previous cases also. The governor has got absolute, when the person has the right to appoint, has the power to appoint a person. Similarly, the person has the same power to withdraw the person from the post also. This is happening even in a small administrative matters, even whether it's a corporate or even in our normal governing body, this happens. So as per our constitution, governor has the authority to appoint, whether it is an AG or whether it is a council of ministers, governor has authority. There is absolutely no doubt on that. First of all, we should understand that. Whether the other sub-question is always asked, when the law is very clear, especially Article 164 says he has got the power to appoint. When you say power to appoint, it implies power to remove also. So we should not have any doubt on that at all. And Sudha, it's very clear that you are in your channel, you are saying very clearly is a tainted minister. You are using the word tainted minister.
Yes.
When you say is a tainted minister, why you should not be removed, whether by the governor or by the chief minister?
No, there is a process. No, Satish, you tell us. It is, of course, he's tainted. Otherwise, what's he doing there? I mean, the ED swooped down on him. He's, of course, now recuperating after a heart bypass operation. But he is being investigated. He's in custody. He may not be behind bars. But the point is, I'm saying that to say why can't he be dismissed is a more a moralistic question. Tell me the process, no? Can a governor dismiss a state cabinet minister just like that without consulting the chief minister?
Basically, we definitely Mr. R N Ravi would have consulted, he would have sent a letter to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to consider this. This process definitely would have happened, whether being it's an administrative matter between the governor and the Chief Minister, we may or we may not know about the process. We cannot say that that process has not taken place at all. But first, we should understand, definitely, as per the advice of the maybe the Attorney General or maybe the Council of Advocates, Mr. R N Ravi would have taken advice, definitely. And being is an experienced person in, especially in the constitution matters, definitely he would have sent a letter, and there may be some sort of correspondence between the governor and Chief Minister, and Chief Minister would have not acted upon it. He would have not given a proper reply. This is not new to governor also. In this, especially to R N Ravi, our Chief Minister Stalin has not replied to many questions what was asked previously on the many bills also. That we know very well. So this is a habit of our Chief Minister also not to respond to the governor, who is the constitutional authority, in a proper manner. So in this case, governor would have taken a decision of dismissing him, and maybe because of and I am surprised in another way, because recalling a letter, why you are taking it so?
No, but so no. It is. Then everything goes. Sorry, everything goes. No.
Let me complete, Sudha. Let me just give me a minute.
But quickly, I have to go.
I'll tell you. As we are in judiciary, there are certain circumstances, even whether it's in a high court or maybe in a Supreme Court or in a smaller courts, if there is any order passed, and if it requires some sort of corrections, maybe a typographical error or maybe of some other corrections to be done, the judiciary has a right to recall its own order.
Right and all. I'm okay. It's not a school where you say tomorrow is holiday and then take back.
No.
This is a government. Satish, this is very important. It sends out a message, I say, this day of social media. You can't do that, which means that the governor did not think it through, Satish. You have to think it through.
No, it is not like that.
No, wait, let me come back to you. I'll come back to you. Wait a minute, have some patience. Mr. Venkat Narayan, let me bring you, I have to also bring other guests. No, but they are also waiting. Mr. Venkat Narayan, I am going to ask you this. Now, let's talk about the letter number 2, where he said now this dismissal is now kept in abeyance. Do you think was the governor pressured by the centre to relook his decision? That is talking point number 3, which Satish of course brought it up, and I am asking you, that I have to now consult the AG, I have to talk, he apparently, there is talk about the Home Minister, about, having consulting him, etc. Do you think that he was pressured? And I am not using pressured by press ganging somebody, but asking someone to say, hey, stop in your tracks, relook.
Well, it could be interpreted that way, Sudha, because I cannot imagine the governor, Mr. Ravi, unilaterally deciding to dismiss the minister without bothering to consult the legal experts who advise him on these issues. The fact that the Home Minister, Amit Shah, asked him to seek legal opinion, that would be the prudent thing to do. That would presume that he may not have checked, but that is not possible. He cannot unilaterally decide to dismiss somebody without consulting the legal expert. But it would seem that the Home Minister has advised him to hold on. This is perhaps a face-saving kind of opportunity being given to the governor to maybe undo or not do anything about it at this point of time, particularly because Stalin has declared that he is going to ignore the governor's decision to dismiss one of his ministers and continue to keep him in the cabinet. Sudha?
All right. Mukund, I'm going to ask you a political question, considering that, you've run a newspaper, so it's only political questions are, I think, more nuanced than anything else. So I'm asking you that, do you think that the centre must have thought, perhaps counseled conferred whatever with the governor and said that let's not do this right now because it sends out a very, very erroneous political message, as it were, and perhaps gives the DMK and Stalin and his ilk yet another stick to beat us with?
Well, first of all, I think the idea which has been mooted by others that the governors actually, went through a process of consultation before he wrote the first letter, just doesn't, cut any ice with me. I don't think he could have done any serious consultation because the law is quite clear. He does not have the power to unilaterally sack a minister. I'm just surprised that there are people on the panel even saying this. I think that's black and white. And I think there's no argument there. He doesn't have a general discretionary power. There have been Supreme Court judgments on this about what pleasure means, that it has to coincide with, what the ministry, withdrawal of support to a ministry. That's when he can exercise this issue under 164 and pleasure. So I think the law is quite clear. I'm not sure what got into him and why he got this letter through. And finally, this is not in abeyance. This has been a slap on the wrist. He's just walked it back. You're not going to hear anything on this, I think, from the governor again. I'd be very surprised if he brings this up. So he's just basically been told that he has exceeded his brief. And, this is the end of this story as far as, the sacking of Mr. Balaji goes. So this is what I think has happened politically. Right. In short, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Sriram, all this while we saw a lot of activity in Tamil Nadu, the DMK files, the shifting of PTR Madurai, and, we thought that the BJP, and, it's a free country, they were trying to make a kind of an impact, as it were, including Mr. K. Annamalai, as it were. Don't you think this particular episode has actually given the DMK a little high moral ground now? Of course, politics is all about seesaw. Someone is up one day and down the other day. I mean, it's not that everything is etched in stone, but somehow I just feel that what Mukund was saying, even I kind of, agree that maybe Mr. Ravi was asked that, hey, just don't run away with it right now. Take it easy, relax.
That's a speculation you can run with. You're free to do it, Sudha, and my esteemed panelists can also do that. And like any of us do the certain speculation and analysis and then say what our opinions are. But in my opinion, honestly, Ravi as a governor, as an individual can do anything. As a governor, he would not have, absolutely would not have acted in a haste without consulting the Home Ministry, without consulting the legal experts. And that would be, to cast aspersions that R N Ravi took the call on his own and then sent out this letter is too childish in my opinion.
Right.
Because he knows his limits. My only thinking is there a bargain and negotiation happening between central BJP and DMK? That could be a speculation I am willing to speculate on. Backroom lobby to say that, let's end this, back and forth arguments, at least on Senthil Balaji, amicably, and hence door opened. That's where I said in my opening statement.
That's very interesting.
In all these, the collateral damage is a constitutional position called governor.
Absolutely.
Okay, the governor's office is a collateral damage in all these things.
Yeah.
But politically, yes, that is one. Constitutionally, I still hold, I told that the Supreme Court judgment of 1979 has not been overruled by any constitutional bench so far. So that holds good. Nor the Constitution has been amended to take a reverse opinion of the 1979 judgment.
Right.
So it still holds good, in my opinion.
Satish, what Sriram said, he said that he must have not really acted in haste. Quickly tell me, I'm running out of time. Do you think that he must have consulted? Because it doesn't seem like he has. You don't expect this because this is not the first, top position that he has assumed, Governor Ravi.
Really, I cannot say anything on the political aspects because why he was recalled, the letter was recalled. If you see the wordings very clearly, what you are also highlighted, he may be kept in abeyance until further communication. Okay, so it means there is a possibility of further communication, isn't it? So I feel there may be another communication or maybe a letter or a correspondence from the Honorable Governor saying that he is dismissed once again. You can expect that letter also.
Wow, you know. So yeah, I got 2 points today. What Sriram said and what you said, that maybe there could be another bomb, and all of us will have to work the whole night, you know, because
he says very clearly it is only abeyance. Abeyance has got a lot of meaning in law.
Right. You're a lawyer, you know, lawyers are so good at, you know, doing this. But I have to go to Mr. Narayan. Mr. Narayan, do you agree with what Satish is saying, that the word abeyance and saying till further communication? So do you think that this chapter ain't over? I mean, there is more to it. Maybe Governor Ravi will, you know, ultimately act on what he said, and which was of course in letter number 1, as it were.
Well, you might also not act.
Okay.
You must remember that, because, you know, if the government of India or the Home Minister decides that, you know, the governor may have gone a bit too far, and with elections barely a year away to the Lok Sabha, and the BJP trying hard to kind of, you know, win some seats in Tamil Nadu and all that, it is possible that politically Amit Shah may have advised Ravi and gave him the excuse, okay, take the legal opinion. I can't imagine he would have acted the way he did without taking legal opinion, but this offers him an exit clause, and maybe he may not really act at all. So let us just see, you know, I don't know, because he hasn't hasn't given himself any time or anything like that.
But like, so I started this conversation by saying, you know, drama, a lot of drama ensued, that you know, we don't have much of it in the evening. Thank you so much, Mukund Padmanabhan, for joining us. Sriram Sheshadri, many thanks as always. Satish, thank you so much. Mr. Venkat Narayan, it was such a pleasure. Thank you very much. So let's wait and watch what happens to the tainted Senthil Balaji. And for all the news on this and several other issues, this is your destination. Keep watching News9 Live.
Gautam Adani, one of the richest men in the world, or a business honcho, accused of manipulating the market.
अदानी जी 609 नंबर से दूसरे नंबर तक कैसे पहुंचे? सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आपका अदानी जी से रिश्ता क्या है?
He has given the space, the railways, the airport, which he has no experience also. So the country's interest has been compromised.
Government has been very clearly supporting few industrial groups, including Adani's industrial group.
Target Adani, streaming now.
It's a mess for Russia and it's a mess for the Western world, for NATO and the United States.
Putin is a dictator, and if he loses, that means the end of his regime, and probably of him personally. So he has to keep going.
Year 2, no end in sight. Streaming now.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
The retired military generals are openly saying that Imran Khan is a better choice.
Imran Khan may have bitten a bit too much, more than what he can chew.
Implosion. This and more. Streaming on world's first news OTT. News9 Plus. Download now.
Ruthless, ambitious, manipulative, powerful. That's how the world knows Xi Jinping. And he's got even more powerful now. What drives China's supreme leader? He's the man who has threatened to annex Taiwan. He has torn up 30 years of border agreements with India. He wants to make China the biggest player in the history of the world by 2048. But what is Xi Jinping thinking? What shaped him? What's made him the most feared Chinese leader since Mao Zedong? A few key events in his childhood shaped his personality. When Xi was 10, the Chinese Communist Party purged his father, Mao's trusted lieutenant, Shi Zongjun.
Well, he was born with a silver spoon. He was the son of Shi Chungshun, who was a revolutionary who participated in the revolutionary campaigns in 1930s and 1940s, and he studied in one of the most elitist schools in Beijing, reserved for the party cadets and the army cadets children. He also joined the Tsinghua University, which is considered to be #1 even today. Tsinghua University is like an IIT in India. Xi Jinping was sent to the villages as part of the overall campaign, and he was in a village conducting the Cultural Revolution campaign.
In 1966, the Red Guards ransacked the Xi household, forcing his sister to commit suicide and his mother to denounce her husband. Xi was then sent away to work in far-off Lianghihe village in Shaanxi province. Xi didn't flee abroad like his friends. Instead, he entered the CCP, the very party that had punished his father. Over the next 4 decades, he worked his way up the ladder. In 2012, he was elected General Secretary of the CCP, making him the paramount leader of China. At its 20th National Congress in Beijing, Xi is on the brink of making history. The party is likely to endorse him for the 3rd time since he took over. He has led China to become the world's 2nd largest economy, with an army that most countries, especially India, view as a threat. What Xi did a few days after he took charge in 2012 should give us a sense of what goes on in his mind today.
从上海石窟门到嘉兴南湖。
He took over the power in 2012. Xi Jinping had centralized his powers extensively, and he decimated several factions within the rival factions within the party. So in this interregnum, he was able to remove many of the influences of the factional leaders.
You know, every time there's a change of leadership in China, there is a hope, particularly from the Western analysts that you get to see, to say that, you know, this gentleman, the new dispensation will bring in more democratization, more opening up, etc., etc. That seems to have been belied as far as Mr. Xi Jinping is concerned.
The newly appointed leader took the hammer to the People's Liberation Army, the party, the bureaucracy, and Chinese universities. He did this through a brutal anti-corruption drive, ideological straitjacketing, and an overhaul of power structures. He is first leader after Mao Zedong to make a public appearance in combat uniform. What does this mean?
So a lot of people have said that he is taking China back to the Mao days. The kind of procedural things that he is setting up, the kind of anti-corruption that he is doing, the kind of common prosperity that he is talking about, the kind of dual circulation to increase the domestic consumption that he is talking about.
So for the 100 years of the People's Republic of China, his objective is to that China becomes the power number one economically, but also militarily. And Xi Jinping believes that his system of governance is far superior than to the Western democracy, particularly the Indian democracy, which he considers as very chaotic and unable to deliver the goods.
What Xi did to the army gives a hint of what was to unfold over the next 10 years. By 2014, he restructured rank and file. Over 40,000 officers of the PLA were dismissed and jailed on various charges of corruption.
Changed all the systems simultaneously in one go. Generally, militaries don't do that.
He then filled the centers of power with those blindly loyal to him. This ensured that the PLA became subservient to him and the CCP. By the time he was done, China had turned into the most totalitarian state it had ever been. Xi's grand ambition is clear when he speaks of his three big projects: the rejuvenation of the great Chinese nation, to make China a major power with pioneering global influence, and creating a community of common destiny.
He is talking about you should work like there's no tomorrow. Okay, so they'll continue to push for it. That is one. The second thing is that he is trying to get China to see what he talked about Chinese dream. You know, when he came to power, he talked about Chinese dream, and he also talked about national rejuvenation. So Chinese dream looks more towards internal issues plus increasing influence of China abroad, whereas national rejuvenation looks at expanding the influence outward.
Despite getting a third term, Xi has his share of challenges. The global slowdown has forced Xi to slash government wages by up to 30%. Another big domestic worry is the powerful princelings, China's entrepreneurs who contribute up to 80% of the country's employment. Xi's balls are even greater overseas.
Malaysia, Philippines, Brunei and other countries.
Xi will also have to deal with its biggest global adversary, the US, against which China stands at odds when it comes to Taiwan, the South China Sea, and most recently, the war in Ukraine. If the US does decide to up the ante and impose sanctions, CCP officials fear that both the Chinese economy and 40 million of their own cadre will be severely hit. This has created a powerful opposing force in the Indo-Pacific. India, Japan, and Australia have all said that they will not stand for China becoming the regional overlord. Xi has made it clear that China will not back down from its aggressive foreign policy positions.
But we may likely to see Xi Jinping conducting a nationalist, highly nationalist rhetoric on India, reviving the East India Company images on the century of humiliation, etc., and increasing the nationalist rhetoric on India. So this is an extreme position that he is likely to take.
Yes, it's 2.5 years, nearly 2.5 years that the Chinese, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, has come into 4 or 5 places in Ladakh, and though agreements have been found for 3 or 4 places.
He wants to redraw China's borders and recover territories he believes are rightfully theirs. This directly impacts India. This means China will continue to press its claims over Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh and several pockets of land along the border, except more skirmishes, pitched battles and diplomatic wrangling. She won't find it easy to achieve these lofty ambitions, but one thing is certain. Seeing how he has amassed power and imposed his will on the most powerful institutions in China and abroad, Xi Jinping will make it hard for the world to ignore him for the next 5 years at least.
He thought he could outlast us. And 1 year later, the evidence is right here in this room.
Who will blink first?
So far from preventing the expansion of NATO, Russian actions have actually resulted in the expansion of NATO.
It's a mess for Russia and it's a mess for the Western world, for NATO and the United States.
Putin is a dictator, and if he loses, that means the end of his regime, and probably of him personally. So he has to keep going.
Year 2, no end in sight. Streaming now.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
Imran Khan may have bitten a bit too much, more than what he can chew.
Implosion. This and more. Streaming on world's first news OTT. News 9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Meha Bharadwaj Auto, and today I have someone extremely special with me on the show. On Game On today is someone who has terrorized bowlers all over the world. He has more than 24,000 runs across all formats, and he has the most number of sixes in international cricket in all formats, and I'm sure he must be in the top 5 of all 3 formats separately. There's a reason he's called Universe Boss. So I have with me Chris Gayle. Welcome, Chris. Okay, whenever I see your Insta feed, you're either partying on a yacht or you're playing baseball and you're celebrating like Cristiano Ronaldo. What brings you to India?
Oh, that doesn't sound like Chris Gayle, doing all those things, those fun stuff. Actually, I'm here in India. It's good to be back in India, first and foremost. And, you know, I want to say thanks for the IVPL to actually having me, the Indian Veteran Premier League, to actually having me here. And I'm looking to be a part of such a thing as well. You know, being a veteran now, because I've set the standard over the years by dominating, so I can be called a veteran, just like a lot of superstars who have actually retired from the game as well. And I'm looking forward to actually share the field and the dressing room with the veteran players, you know, coming up in the